is my Lab 3 submission, starting with my pre-lab. For the first one, the two voltages, you subtract by 1/3 of the total voltage and subtract by 2/3 of the total voltage because the resistors are of equal resistance. For number 2, I found an error in the split tokens line because it is reading in a tab character but being given comma characters, and so it will not read in the tokens or split them properly. And for the third one, the code plots a circle of radius 5, diameter 10. This is my Lab 3 video, starting with my circuit, the potentiometer set up. Go on to my code. For the first one, I simply changed the fill value to 255 in the blue rather than the red. I can show you that. And it plots vertically and horizontally based on me changing the potentiometers. And I'm unable to do diagonal movement just based on the fact I'm using one hand to record. In my second one, this is me setting the bounds for the X and Y so it doesn't surpass them. This is the code for that, using just the min and max functions to make sure it doesn't surpass the width or height or go below 0. In the next one, this was integrating the color gradient, which I did with this big line here, the fill line. And I was essentially multiplying the R and G values by 255 times the percent of the way X is across the screen, and the G value by the percent of the way Y is across the screen. So again, I can show you that, as well as this showcases the fact it won't go past the edges. So this is the color gradient. I'm not sure you can see it too well, but black up there, yellow in the corner, white down towards the bottom right corner, and blue in the bottom left corner. Finally, we have the final one. In order to make it plot 1 every 50 milliseconds, I used the mod function in a while loop, so basically hold it there. This is because I tried to use the delay function and it was creating a lot of input lag between my potentiometer and the plot. Other than that, I have X as a variable outside of setup so that it can be modified. And in here, after my ellipse is plotted, I increment X by 1, so essentially moves it over 1 every 50 milliseconds. And if X is larger than the width at 512, I reset the background so as to clear the screen and reset X to 0. And I can show you that here. For this, I was only using my Y potentiometer to plot, so you can see that here. If I change my X potentiometer, there's no effect at all. Simply the Y one. I'll show you the screen clearing and then finish this up. Cool, there we go. This is exercise 2 of Lab 3, and demonstrating my code. I have the image loaded in, resized, and set to the background. I set the fill color to blue, and then I have a big variable declaration of up, down, left, right, X and Y, where I kind of guesstimated X and Y for the starting point. I used the code available for port reading, and then I've renamed this raw array, which then goes through a variety of ifs, reading up, down, left, and right, and adjusting the X and Y variables appropriately. And then I have this catcher from exercise 1 to make sure X and Y aren't too big or too small. Then I have a little print statement for myself, and it draws the circle. I've gotten it pretty close here, as you can see. And I'll try to finish up with one hand, but I'm not sure how well I can do it. And for context, I don't have the buttons available in my lab kits, so I'm using wires hooked up to the digital ports directly on the 5 volts or ground. So you can see I've shifted the up to the positive and it's moving up towards the finish. Finally, I also have my Arduino code. Here, I use the input pull-up command so as to reduce the amount of noise when moving the wires around, as well as I create the string with just some concatenation, and that's all.